Stop scrolling. Yes, you. Before you move to another video, before you check another notification, before your mind drifts back to everything that has been weighing on your heart, stop for a moment and listen, because this message did not arrive by accident. You may think you clicked on this video by chance. You may think this is just another message appearing on your screen like thousands of others before it. But deep down, something inside you knows this feels different. There is a reason you are here. There is a reason these words found you today. And there is a reason your spirit would not let you scroll past. My child, I know what you have been carrying. I know about the questions you have been asking when nobody else was around. I know about the silent prayers whispered through tears. I know about the nights when sleep would not come because your mind was full of worry, fear, and uncertainty. I know about the moments when you looked toward heaven and wondered if anyone was listening. You have tried to stay strong. You have tried to keep moving forward. You have smiled when others were watching and hidden your pain when they were not. But I have seen it all. Not one tear escaped my attention. Not one prayer went unheard. Not one moment of your struggle was hidden from my eyes. And today, I need you to hear something that could change everything. What if the silence was never abandonment? What if the waiting was never punishment? What if the delay that frustrated you was actually preparation? You have been looking at your circumstances and assuming that nothing is happening. But I tell you now, I have been working in places you cannot see. While you were worrying, I was arranging. While you were waiting, I was preparing. While you were questioning, I was building. The story is not over. The door is not closed. The promise is not dead. My child, you are standing closer to your breakthrough than you realize. That is why this message arrived today, not yesterday. Not next month, today. Because there are things I need you to understand before the next chapter begins. The enemy wanted you to believe that you were forgotten. He wanted you to believe that your prayers no longer mattered. He wanted you to believe that nothing would ever change. But he lied. I have never stopped watching over you. I have never stopped loving you. And I have never stopped working on your behalf. So take a deep breath. Let the noise of the world fade for a moment. Let the fear loosen its grip. Let the worry become silent. Because heaven is speaking to you right now. And before this message is over, I am going to show you why the battle has been so difficult, why the waiting has lasted so long, and why your breakthrough may be much closer than you think. Do not leave yet. Stay with me, because what I am about to reveal could be exactly what your heart has been crying out to hear. My child, before I speak about where you are going, I need to speak about where you have been, because there is a battle you have been fighting that very few people know about. Others see your smile. They see your daily routine. They see the way you keep showing up, keep working, keep carrying responsibilities. But they do not see what happens when you are alone. They do not hear the thoughts that keep you awake at night. They do not feel the weight that has been pressing against your heart. But I do. I have seen every hidden struggle. I have seen every moment when you felt like giving up but kept going anyway. I have seen every tear you wiped away before anyone else could notice. I have seen the silent disappointment after another prayer seemed unanswered. I have seen the exhaustion that settled into your soul after carrying burdens for far too long. My child, you have been stronger than most people realize. There were days when you felt completely drained, yet you still got out of bed. There were moments when your heart was breaking, yet you still encouraged others. There were seasons when you felt lost, yet you continued taking one step at a time. People called you strong, but what they did not understand was how tired you were of being strong. You kept fighting battles that nobody else could see. The battle against fear. The battle against discouragement. The battle against doubt. The battle against loneliness. The battle against the voice that kept whispering that nothing would ever change. And sometimes that voice became so loud that you wondered if hope was slipping away. You wondered if your prayers were reaching heaven. You wondered if I still had a plan for your life. You wondered if the promises you once believed would ever become reality. My child, I heard every one of those questions, and I was not offended by them. I was listening. I understood the pain behind them, because I know what it feels like when the waiting becomes heavy. I know what it feels like when the future looks uncertain. I know what it feels like when you cannot see the purpose behind your struggle. That is why I am speaking to you now, not to condemn you for your doubts, not to shame you for your fears, but to remind you that I have never left your side. Even during the moments when you felt abandoned, even during the nights when your faith felt weak, even during the days when you questioned everything, I was there. I was there when you cried in silence. I was there when disappointment broke your heart. I was there when someone walked away. I was there when opportunities disappeared. I was there when doors closed unexpectedly. I was there when you felt forgotten. And I am here now. My child, the reason this battle has felt so personal is because it touched the deepest parts of your heart. It attacked your confidence. It attacked your peace. It attacked your identity. It attacked your hope. The enemy wanted you to believe that your current situation defines your future. He wanted you to believe that your setbacks were permanent. He wanted you to believe that your story was already written, but he was wrong. Your story is still being written. The chapter you are in right now is not the final chapter. The pain you feel today is not the end of the story. The confusion you are experiencing is not the conclusion. There is more ahead than you can see. And that is why I need you to hear this clearly. You are not fighting this battle because I abandoned you. You are fighting this battle because there is something valuable inside you worth fighting over. There is purpose inside you. There is calling inside you. There is destiny inside you. And even though you cannot see it yet, heaven has been watching over every step you have taken. Not one tear was wasted. Not one prayer was ignored. Not one moment of suffering escaped my attention. I saw it all. I carried you through it all. And before this message is finished, you will begin to understand why the battle was necessary, why the waiting was allowed, and why the breakthrough you have been praying for may be closer than you ever imagined. My child, I know there is a question that has lived in your heart for a long time, a question you may have whispered through tears, a question you may have asked while staring into the darkness late at night. Lord, if you love me, why has this season lasted so long? Why didn't you answer sooner? Why didn't you open the door when I first prayed? Why didn't you remove the struggle? I have heard every one of those questions, and today I want to answer them. The first thing you must understand is this. What felt like delay was never abandonment. What felt like silence was never absence. And what felt like rejection was never punishment. I was there the entire time. The problem was not that I had stopped working. The problem was that I was working in places you could not see. My child, if I had answered some of your prayers immediately, you would have stepped into things that were not ready. You were asking for blessings, but I was preparing the foundation beneath them. You were asking for open doors, but I was strengthening you for what waited behind those doors. You were asking for quick answers, but I was creating lasting transformation. You wanted relief. I wanted growth. You wanted comfort. I wanted maturity. You wanted the battle to end. I wanted to make sure you were prepared for the victory. Because the truth is that blessing without preparation can become a burden. Promotion without character can become destruction. Success without wisdom can become a trap. That is why I allowed this season to continue longer than you expected. Not because I wanted to hurt you. Not because I enjoyed watching you struggle. But because I loved you too much to give you something before you were ready to carry it. My child, there are things you prayed for a year ago that would have overwhelmed the person you were back then. There are responsibilities you could not have handled. There are challenges you could not have survived. There are opportunities that would have crushed you instead of helping you. But look at you now. You are stronger. You are wiser. You are more dependent on me than you were before. You have learned lessons that comfort could never teach. You have discovered strength you never knew you possessed. And although the process was painful, it was producing something valuable inside you. Every waiting season has a purpose. Every delay has a lesson. Every closed door has a reason. There were times when I closed doors because danger was hiding behind them. There were times when I slowed you down because the timing was wrong. There were times when I said no because I could see consequences you could not see. You called it disappointment. I called it protection. You called it loss. I called it redirection. You called it delay. I called it preparation. My child, remember this. A farmer does not harvest the day after planting a seed. The seed must first grow beneath the surface where nobody can see it. Roots must develop before fruit appears. Strength must form before growth becomes visible. And that is exactly what I have been doing in your life. While you were looking for visible results, I was building invisible roots. While you were measuring progress by circumstances, I was measuring progress by transformation. While you were asking, when will things change? I was asking, are they becoming who I created them to be? Because your greatest blessing is not the miracle itself. Your greatest blessing is becoming the person capable of sustaining the miracle. One day you will look back at this season and realize that I was not delaying your future. I was protecting it. I was shaping it. I was preparing it, and I was preparing you. So do not mistake my timing for neglect. Do not mistake my silence for indifference. Do not mistake your waiting season for a wasted season. Because even now, while you are listening to these words, things are moving that you cannot yet see. Pieces are coming together. Doors are being aligned. Prayers are being answered in ways you do not yet understand. And in the next part of this message, I am going to reveal something that may surprise you. While you thought nothing was happening, I have been working behind the scenes every single day. My child, one of the greatest mistakes people make during a difficult season is believing that nothing is happening. When they cannot see movement, they assume there is no movement. When they cannot see progress, they assume there is no progress. When they cannot see my hand, they assume I am not working. But I want you to hear me clearly. I have never stopped working on your behalf. Not for a single day. Not for a single hour. Not for a single moment. Even when everything around you appeared unchanged, heaven was busy. While you were waiting, I was moving. While you were wondering, I was arranging. While you were questioning, I was preparing things that your eyes could not yet see. My child, there are battles I fought for you that you never knew existed. There were doors I closed before they could lead you into pain. There were relationships I removed before they could damage your future. There were opportunities I prevented because they would have taken you away from your purpose. You mourned some of those losses. You questioned some of those closed doors. You wondered why certain things did not work out. But if you could see what I see, you would understand that some of my greatest blessings came disguised as disappointments. Some of my greatest acts of protection came disguised as rejection, and some of my greatest mercies came disguised as delays. While you thought you were losing something, I was actually saving you from something. My child, I have also been working on people connected to your future. There are conversations happening that you know nothing about. There are hearts being prepared. There are opportunities being formed. There are connections being aligned. There are answers moving toward you even now. You see only the present moment, but I see the entire picture. I see where every road leads. I see every detail. I see every outcome. And because I see what you cannot see, I have been arranging pieces long before you ever knew they existed. Think about this. When a builder constructs a great building, most of the work happens before anyone notices. The foundation is laid underground. The structure is strengthened behind the walls. The preparation happens out of sight. Only later does everyone see the finished result. Your life has been no different. I have been building foundations that nobody can see. I have been strengthening areas of your life that will support future blessings. I have been developing character where success will eventually stand. Because I am not interested in giving you temporary victories. I am preparing lasting ones. My child, another thing I have been doing behind the scenes is healing parts of you that were wounded. You have focused so much on what you wanted me to change around you that sometimes you failed to notice what I was changing within you. The pain revealed wounds that needed healing. The waiting revealed fears that needed surrendering. The disappointment revealed places where trust needed to grow. I was not simply preparing blessings for you. I was preparing you for the blessings. There is a difference, because if I gave you everything you asked for without transforming your heart, you might gain the blessing and lose your peace. You might reach the destination but miss the purpose. You might receive the gift, but never become the person I created you to be. So while you waited, I worked. While you cried, I worked. While you doubted, I worked. While you slept, I worked. And even now, as you listen to these words, I am still working. The story is not paused. The process is not over. The promise is not forgotten. In fact, many of the things you have been praying about are much closer than you realize. The reason you feel different lately is because something is shifting. The reason old things no longer satisfy you is because a new season is approaching. The reason your spirit feels restless is because I am preparing you for change. My child, there are signs that reveal when a breakthrough is drawing near. Signs that many people overlook because they do not understand what they mean. But before this message continues, I want you to pay close attention, because in the next part, I am going to reveal the signs that prove your breakthrough may be closer than ever before. And once you recognize them, you will understand why this season is beginning to change. My child, many people expect a breakthrough to arrive suddenly. They imagine that one morning everything will instantly change. They believe there will be a dramatic sign, a loud announcement, or an obvious miracle that leaves no room for doubt. But often, before the breakthrough becomes visible, I begin sending signs, small signals, subtle shifts, gentle indicators that a new season is approaching. The problem is that many people miss these signs because they are looking only at their circumstances. But I want you to look deeper, because if you pay attention, you may discover that I have already begun preparing you for what is coming. The first sign is this: you can no longer find peace in the place where you once felt comfortable. Things that once satisfied you no longer satisfy you. Old habits feel empty, old routines feel different. The things that once captured your attention seem to have lost their grip. You may have wondered why this is happening. It is because your spirit is being prepared for something greater. I often create a holy dissatisfaction before I create a new opportunity. I allow you to outgrow one season before I lead you into the next one. Do not fear this feeling. It is often a sign that growth has already begun. The second sign is that your desire for me has become stronger. Perhaps you find yourself praying more, thinking about spiritual things more, searching for answers more, feeling drawn toward my presence in a way you have not felt before. That is not an accident. When I am preparing someone for a breakthrough, I often deepen their dependence on me first, because the blessing I am about to release should bring you closer to me, not further away from me. Your hunger for my presence is evidence that your spirit is awakening. The third sign is unexpected separation. Some relationships may be changing. Certain people may be drifting away. Conversations that once felt natural now feel forced. You may even feel lonely at times. But listen carefully. Not every separation is a loss. Sometimes I remove people who cannot go where I am taking you. Sometimes I clear space before I release something new. Do not cling to what I am asking you to release. Trust that I know exactly what belongs in your next season. The fourth sign is increased resistance. This may surprise you. Many people think that when a breakthrough is near, the battle should become easier, but often the opposite happens. Resistance increases because the enemy recognizes that something is shifting. The attacks intensify because darkness senses that its time is running out. Fear grows louder. Doubt becomes more aggressive. Discouragement seems stronger. But do not mistake increased resistance for defeat. Often it is confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. The enemy fights hardest when he realizes he is losing ground. The fifth sign is that I begin changing you internally before I change your circumstances externally. You may notice greater patience, greater wisdom, greater discernment, greater emotional strength. You may handle situations differently than you once did. You may react with peace where you once reacted with panic. You may respond with faith where you once responded with fear. These changes matter more than you realize, because they reveal that transformation is already taking place. My child, breakthrough is not simply about changing your circumstances. Breakthrough is about changing you. And when you change, everything around you begins to change as well. The sixth sign is a growing sense that something is about to happen. You cannot fully explain it. You cannot prove it. But deep inside you feel a stirring, a quiet expectation, a sense that this chapter is coming to an end. That feeling is often my spirit preparing your heart for what is ahead. I do not always reveal the details, but I frequently release anticipation before manifestation, hope before fulfillment, expectation before arrival. And perhaps that is exactly why you are listening to these words right now. Because your spirit recognizes that something is shifting, something is changing, something is moving. My child, these are not signs of abandonment. These are signs of transition. You are not falling apart. You are being repositioned. You are not being forgotten. You are being prepared. You are not reaching the end. You are approaching a new beginning. And if these signs have been appearing in your life, then listen closely. Your breakthrough may be much closer than you think. But before you move forward, I want you to pause for a moment and respond, because what comes next could strengthen your faith even more. My child, before we continue, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on what you have heard so far. If these words have touched your heart, if you feel that I am speaking directly into your situation, then do not ignore this moment. Take a step of faith right now. Type Amen in the comments as a declaration that you believe I am still working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it. And if there is a burden you have been carrying, a prayer you have been waiting to see answered, write it in the comments as well. Let this be an act of surrender, not fear. Also, share this message with someone who may be struggling silently today. You never know whose faith could be strengthened by a single word of hope. Now stay with me, because what I am about to reveal next may explain why the enemy has fought you so fiercely for so long. My child, there is something I need you to understand about the battles you have faced. Many times, you looked at the attacks and assumed they were proof that something was wrong with you. You thought the struggle meant you were failing. You thought the resistance meant you were forgotten. You thought the opposition meant you were moving away from my plan. But what if the opposite is true? What if the intensity of the battle is actually evidence of the value of what is inside you? The enemy does not waste his greatest efforts on what has no purpose. He does not fight hardest against those who pose no threat to his kingdom of darkness. He targets what he fears. And what he fears most is not your past, it is your future. He fears the person you are becoming. He fears the strength that is being developed inside you. He fears the testimony that will come from your pain. He fears the impact your life will have once you fully understand who you are in me. That is why the attacks became so relentless. That is why discouragement seemed to arrive whenever hope began to rise. That is why fear appeared whenever faith started growing. That is why confusion tried to enter whenever clarity was near. The enemy was not attacking your weakness. He was attacking your potential. He saw possibilities in your future that you could not yet see for yourself. He saw the healing that would come through your story. He saw the lives that would be encouraged because you refused to quit. He saw the influence you would carry. He saw the freedom you would walk in. And because he saw it, he tried to stop it before it could happen. My child, think about all the times you almost gave up. Think about the moments when you felt like walking away from your faith. Think about the seasons when disappointment became so heavy that you questioned everything. Those were not random moments. There was a battle taking place over your future, a battle over your calling, a battle over your purpose, a battle over the blessing that was still ahead of you. The enemy wanted your focus fixed on your pain because he never wanted you to discover your purpose. He wanted you to stare at the storm and forget about the promise. He wanted you to focus on the delay and ignore the preparation. He wanted you to believe that your story ended in defeat, but he failed. You are still here. You are still listening. You are still seeking me. You are still standing. And that alone is evidence that his plan did not succeed. My child, every time you chose to pray instead of surrendering to despair, you won a battle. Every time you trusted me while you did not understand, you won a battle. Every time you kept moving forward despite fear, you won a battle. You may not have realized it then, but heaven saw every victory. The enemy wanted to extinguish the small flame of faith inside you, but he could not, because I was protecting that flame. I was strengthening it. I was breathing life into it, and now that flame is becoming stronger than ever before. Listen carefully. The attack was never proof that I abandoned you. The attack was proof that something valuable was being protected. The resistance was never evidence that your breakthrough was impossible. The resistance was evidence that your breakthrough mattered. The battle was never proof of your weakness. The battle was proof of your purpose. My child, one day you will look back and realize that the enemy accidentally revealed something important. Through the intensity of the attack, he exposed the significance of your destiny. Through the size of the battle, he revealed the size of the blessing. Through the depth of the struggle, he revealed the depth of the purpose I placed inside you. That is why you must not quit now. That is why you must not lose heart. That is why you must not allow fear to write the ending of your story. Because the same God who carried you through every battle is now preparing to show you what those battles were producing. And when you finally see it, you will understand that you are no longer the same person who entered the storm. Something inside you has changed. Something inside you has grown. And that is exactly what I want to talk to you about next. My child, after everything you have been through, there is something important I need you to recognize. You are not the same person you were before this season began. I know there were days when it felt like nothing was changing. Days when you looked at your circumstances and saw the same problems, the same challenges, the same unanswered questions, the same waiting, and because the circumstances seemed unchanged, you assumed that you were unchanged too. But that is not true. The greatest work I have been doing was never outside of you. It was inside of you. Look back for a moment. Think about who you were before the storm. Think about how you responded to disappointment. Think about how you handled uncertainty. Think about how easily fear could control your decisions. Think about how quickly discouragement could steal your peace. Now, look at who you are becoming. You have survived things you once believed would destroy you. You have endured seasons you never thought you could endure. You have carried burdens that would have broken an earlier version of yourself. And yet here you are, still standing, still believing, still moving forward. That is not because the battle was easy. It is because I have been strengthening you through it. My child, pain changes people. But when you place your pain in my hands, it changes people for the better. The suffering that was meant to make you bitter has been teaching you compassion. The disappointment that was meant to make you cynical has been teaching you wisdom. The waiting that was meant to make you quit has been teaching you perseverance. The storm that was meant to weaken you has been building strength you did not know existed. You may not fully see it yet, but others can. People notice the maturity that has developed in you. They notice the patience. They notice the humility. They notice the depth. They notice the quiet strength that was not there before. Because when a person walks through fire with me, they never come out the same way they entered. Something changes. Something grows. Something is refined. Gold is purified by fire, and faith is strengthened through testing. My child, there are things you understand now that you could never have learned through comfort alone. You understand how precious peace really is. You understand the value of trust. You understand that your strength does not come from your own ability. You understand that my grace is sufficient, even in your weakest moments. These lessons were costly, but they were valuable, and they are becoming part of the foundation for your future. The enemy wanted the storm to define you. He wanted your failures to define you. He wanted your wounds to define you. He wanted your fears to define you. But they do not define you. I do. Your identity is not found in what happened to you. Your identity is found in who created you. You are my child. You are loved. You are chosen. You are called. You are being transformed. And transformation is often difficult to recognize while it is happening. A tree does not notice itself growing each day, yet month after month, year after year, it becomes stronger and taller. The same is true for you. You may not notice every change, but growth has been taking place. Faith has been growing. Wisdom has been growing. Discernment has been growing. Strength has been growing. And because of that growth, you are now capable of carrying things that would have overwhelmed you before. My child, do not focus only on what has not happened yet. Look at what has already happened within you. Look at the courage you have gained. Look at the faith you still possess. Look at the strength that remains despite everything you have endured. Those are not small victories. Those are miracles in themselves. The person who entered this storm is not the same person who is coming out of it. You are stronger. You are wiser. You are deeper. You are closer to me. And now that the transformation has begun, I am preparing to do something new. Because the next season of your life will require the person you have become, not the person you used to be. And that is why what comes next may be greater than anything you have imagined. My child, after all the waiting, all the stretching, all the refining, I need you to hear this with an open heart. The season you have been living in is not the season you will remain in. Change is coming. Not because circumstances suddenly decided to improve. Not because luck has finally found you. Not because the world has become easier, but because I am moving. And when I move, no force on earth can stop what I have ordained. For so long, you have focused on the doors that closed, the opportunities that disappeared, the relationships that ended, the plans that failed, the dreams that seemed delayed. You stood before those closed doors and wondered why they would not open. You prayed. You waited. You knocked again and again. Sometimes you even blamed yourself. You thought perhaps you were not good enough. Perhaps you lacked faith. Perhaps you missed your chance. But my child, many of those doors were never meant to open. Some doors led to distraction. Some led to compromise. Some led away from your purpose. And because I love you, I refused to let you walk through them. What felt like rejection was often protection. What felt like loss was often guidance. What felt like a setback was often my hand redirecting your path. Now, I want you to shift your attention. Stop staring at the doors that remained closed. Start looking toward the doors I am preparing to open. Because there is a difference between a door you force open and a door I open. The doors you force require constant struggle. The doors I open come with my favor. The doors you force create anxiety. The doors I open create peace. The doors you force depend on human strength. The doors I open depend on divine authority. And when I open a door, no person can shut it. No enemy can block it. No circumstance can cancel it. No delay can destroy it. Because what I establish cannot be overturned by the opinions of people. My child, even now I am arranging things that will soon become visible. You cannot see all of it yet. You cannot understand every detail. But movement has already begun. There are opportunities being prepared. There are answers approaching. There are breakthroughs developing beyond your sight. There are blessings moving toward your life at this very moment. The reason you feel that stirring inside your spirit is because the atmosphere around your future is changing. The season of endless waiting is not permanent. The season of confusion is not permanent. The season of disappointment is not permanent. I have not brought you this far to leave you where you are. I have not carried you through every battle only to abandon you before the victory. I have not refined you through the fire without purpose. The preparation was leading somewhere. The growth was leading somewhere. The waiting was leading somewhere. And now the path ahead is beginning to open. My child, do not be afraid when new opportunities appear. Do not shrink back when I call you forward. Do not allow old disappointments to convince you that every future door will close. The past is not your prophecy. Yesterday's pain is not tomorrow's promise. What happened before does not determine what I can do next. I need you to trust me enough to walk forward when the door appears. Trust me enough to leave behind what no longer belongs in your life. Trust me enough to believe that I am capable of doing more than you can imagine. Because the door I am opening is not merely about a new opportunity. It is about a new season, a season of deeper peace, a season of greater clarity, a season of renewed purpose, a season where you begin to see why I allowed you to walk through everything that came before. And when that season arrives, you will understand that none of your tears were wasted, none of your prayers were ignored, none of your waiting was meaningless. The door is closer than you think. The breakthrough is nearer than it appears. But there is one thing that can still try to stop you from stepping through it: fear. And that is exactly what I want to speak about next. My child, now that the door is beginning to open, there is one final obstacle that often stands between people and the blessing I have prepared for them. Fear. Not the fear of where they are, but the fear of moving forward. The fear of believing again. The fear of hoping again. The fear of trusting again. After everything you have been through, I understand why fear tries to speak so loudly. You have experienced disappointment before. You have prayed for things that did not happen the way you expected. You have trusted people who let you down. You have stepped forward before and been hurt. So now, when I begin to move in your life, fear whispers. What if it happens again? What if you believe and get disappointed? What if you step forward and fail? What if nothing changes? My child, fear always speaks in possibilities, but faith speaks in promises. Fear wants you to focus on what could go wrong. Faith invites you to trust the one who holds the future. Fear is not trying to protect you. It is trying to paralyze you. It wants to keep you standing outside the very door I am opening. It wants you to remain in a familiar struggle rather than step into an unfamiliar blessing. Because fear knows something. It knows that if you fully trust me, it loses its power over you. That is why fear often becomes strongest just before a breakthrough. The closer you get to the promise, the louder the doubts become. The closer you get to freedom, the stronger the temptation to turn back. The closer you get to your miracle, the more convincing fear tries to sound. But listen carefully. Do not build your future on the opinions of fear. Fear has never seen the plans I have for you. Fear does not know what I am preparing. Fear cannot see the doors I am opening. Fear cannot understand the blessings that are already moving toward you. Only I can. My child, remember all the times I carried you when you thought you would not survive. Remember all the times I provided when you saw no solution. Remember all the times I made a way where there seemed to be no way. The same God who helped you then is helping you now. The same God who protected you yesterday is protecting you today. The same God who brought you through every storm will lead you through this one as well. So stop listening to the voice that tells you to stay trapped in yesterday. Stop listening to the voice that tells you your best days are behind you. Stop listening to the voice that says your miracle is impossible, because it is not. The breakthrough I promised is not beyond my reach. The healing is not beyond my power. The restoration is not beyond my ability. What I began, I am faithful to complete. My child, do not let fear convince you to settle for less than what I have prepared. Do not let fear talk you out of your miracle. Take my hand. Trust my voice. Keep moving forward. Because you are standing closer to your breakthrough than ever before. And now the moment has come for a decision that only you can make. My child, after everything you have heard today, you now stand at a crossroads. Not a crossroads of circumstances, not a crossroads of opportunities, but a crossroads of faith. Because every breakthrough begins with a decision. Every new season begins with a decision. Every transformation begins with a decision. And now the decision is before you. Will you continue listening to fear, or will you trust my voice? Will you keep holding on to disappointment, or will you release it into my hands? Will you keep carrying burdens I never asked you to carry, or will you finally surrender them to me? My child, I will not force this choice upon you. Love never forces. Love invites. And today, I am inviting you. I am inviting you to trust me again, to believe again, to hope again, to expect again. I know that some part of your heart wants proof before faith. You want to see the door before taking the step. You want certainty before obedience. You want the entire path revealed before moving forward. But faith has never worked that way. Faith takes the first step while trusting that I will provide the next one. Faith chooses my promise over present circumstances. Faith believes that what I have spoken is greater than what you currently see. My child, heaven is waiting for your response. Not because I need your permission to work, but because I desire your partnership. I want your willing heart. I want your trust. I want your surrender. The next chapter of your life cannot be built on fear. It must be built on faith. The old season was marked by survival. The new season will be marked by trust. The old season was marked by uncertainty. The new season will be marked by confidence in my presence. The old season taught you how to endure. The next season will teach you how to walk boldly. So right now, in this moment, make your decision. Decide that you will trust me even when you do not understand everything. Decide that you will keep moving forward even when the path is not fully visible. Decide that you will believe my promises more than your fears. Because one sincere yes can change the direction of an entire life. And perhaps that is why you were brought here today. Not merely to hear a message, but to make a decision. A decision that will open the door to everything I have been preparing for you all along. And one day, when you look back on this moment, you will realize that this was not the end of your story. This was the beginning of a brand new chapter. My child, there will come a day when you look back on this season with different eyes. A day when the confusion will make sense. A day when the tears will tell a story of growth. A day when the waiting will no longer feel like a burden, but a blessing. Right now, you can only see a small part of the picture. You see the delays. You see the disappointments. You see the unanswered questions, but I see the entire journey. I see where every step is leading. I see how every challenge has shaped you. I see how every setback redirected you. I see how every closed door protected you. And one day, you will see it too. You will understand why certain prayers were not answered immediately. You will understand why some people had to leave. You will understand why some opportunities disappeared. You will understand why the process took longer than you expected. Because if everything had happened according to your timing, you would have missed the greater plan I was preparing. My child, not one tear was wasted. Not one prayer was ignored. Not one moment of your pain was meaningless. I have been weaving every part of your story together for a purpose greater than you can currently imagine. The waiting was shaping you. The struggle was strengthening you. The silence was teaching you to trust me more deeply. And now you stand closer to the fulfillment of my purpose than ever before. So do not allow discouragement to have the final word. Do not judge your future by your present circumstances. Lift your eyes. Trust my timing. Trust my heart. Trust my plan. Because what feels unfinished today is not forgotten. What feels delayed today is still moving. And what seems impossible today is still in my hands. One day you will look back and say, "Now I understand." You will see that I was working all along. You will see that I never left your side. And you will realize that the wait was not evidence of my absence. It was evidence of my preparation. Heavenly Father, thank you for every person listening to this message right now. Thank you for seeing every struggle, every tear, every silent prayer, and every burden they have carried for far too long. Lord, I ask that you fill their hearts with your peace. Where there has been fear, release courage. Where there has been confusion, bring clarity. Where there has been exhaustion, renew their strength. Where there has been disappointment, restore hope. Father, remind them that they are not forgotten. Remind them that you are working behind the scenes even when they cannot see it. Help them trust your timing when the waiting feels difficult, and help them hold on to faith when the future feels uncertain. Break every chain of fear, doubt, discouragement, and hopelessness. Replace those things with confidence in your promises and assurance in your love. Open the doors that are according to your will, and close every door that would lead them away from your purpose. Guide their steps, protect their hearts, and surround them with your presence. Lord, let them walk into the new season you have prepared with faith, peace, and expectation. We trust you. We surrender everything into your hands, and we believe that greater things are still ahead. In Jesus' name, amen. Before you leave, I want you to make a declaration of faith, not because your words have power on their own, but because faith grows when it is spoken. If this message touched your heart, type this in the comments. I trust God's timing. My breakthrough is coming. Write it with confidence. Write it as a reminder to your own soul. Write it as a declaration that fear will not have the final word. My child, remember this. God has not forgotten you. He is still working behind the scenes. Even now, while you cannot see every detail, He is aligning people, opportunities, answers, and blessings according to His perfect plan. If this message encouraged you today, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may need hope right now. One simple share could be the very encouragement another person has been praying for, and whenever doubt tries to return, come back to this truth. God is still working. God is still faithful. God is still in control. Your waiting season will not last forever. Your story is not over, and your breakthrough may be closer than you think. May God bless you, strengthen you, and guide every step of your journey. Amen.